Gonzaga has been an absolute staple of college basketball for the last decade, not only as a regular NCAA tournament team, but as a perennial contender for the Final Four. But something seems different about the Zags this year. They're now 11-5 on the year and fresh off of a loss on the road to Santa Clara. They recently broke their streak of 143 straight weeks of being ranked in the top 25. Now, there are many burning questions that are on fans' minds. Is this team in danger of missing the NCAA tournament? What's wrong with Gonzaga this year? Why have they struggled so much? And could this mean the end of a dynasty for Mark Few in Spokane? All of those questions will be answered right here on College Hoops Tonight. Now, the Zags are coming off of a last-second loss and a one-point loss to Santa Clara on the road last Thursday, 77-76. It's their fifth loss of the year thus far. They're 0-2 in true road games this year, and they dropped out of the AP Top 25 poll for the first time since 2016. Now, the burning question on fans' minds is this team a lock to make the NCAA tournament? Now, in my opinion, I don't necessarily think so anymore because of the struggles that this team has had in an unexpected manner here early on in the season. The Zags are 11-5 here this season, but they really haven't beaten anybody. They've yet to pick up a quad one win in the 2023-2024 season, which is a huge component of what the bracket committee looks at. The Zags are 0-4 in their quad one games this year and just 2-1 in quad two games. Now, they knocked off USC and Syracuse, but both are kind of middling teams in their respective conferences, the Pac-12 and the ACC. Now, the Zags have really just beaten up on not-so-great teams this year. They're 8-0 against teams that are quad 3 and 4. And here's the problem for the Zags. They just don't have many more chances to impress left on their schedule. They've got 3 more chances as of now to pick up quad 1 wins, at least before the WCC tournament. February 10th, a massive game. They have to go on the road to Rupp Arena to take on the Kentucky Wildcats. That would be a huge win for their resume if they could pull that one off. And then a couple of conference games at the end of their schedule are quad one opportunities as well. February 29th against San Francisco would be a quad one win if the Zags could win that one. And then March 2nd, of course, the big matchup on the road against St. Mary's. Now, here's my opinion. With just those 3 opportunities to pick up quad one wins left, at least in their regular season schedule, the Zags need to win 2 of those games. If you could win all 3, you'll certainly be feeling good about yourself on Selection Sunday. But they need to win 2 of them to have a really comfortable position, let's just say that, on Selection Sunday if they don't win the WCC tournament. If they struggle in those 3 games and they can't bolster their resume, they might have to take home the WCC title, which, again, they've been no stranger to over the past decade, but it would put more pressure on the Zags than they've had on them in March in a long time. Again, those 3 opportunities left on their schedule could loom large. So the next question is, what's wrong with this Gonzaga team? Why have they struggled so mightily, at least compared to years past? Again, Gonzaga held to a higher standard than probably most teams in college basketball. You could probably name 5 to 10 teams, maybe, that have higher standards than the Zags up in Spokane. And to me, their struggles boil down to 2 things: 3-point shooting and paint defense. On the offensive end, shooting the 3 ball, the Zags have really struggled this season. 31.7% as a team from beyond the arc. That's 249th in the nation for Gonzaga this year. Historically, this is a team that shoots the 3 ball really well. They have not done that this year. And part of the reason why is just there's nobody that's really a comfortable three-point shooter on this team. Nolan Hickman might be the only exception. He's taken 73 three-pointers this year and made 37% of them. But outside of Hickman, you have people that are not comfortable taking the three ball, jacking up shots that they really shouldn't be. Now, it should be mentioned that Gonzaga is missing a huge piece, especially on the perimeter. Steele Venters, the transfer guard from Eastern Washington, who is a 40% career three-point shooter, was expected to play a big role and kind of be that guy beyond the arc for the Zags. He tore his ACL before the first regular season game. They sorely miss him this year, and they've struggled on the offensive end at times against good defensive teams because of that. Now, again, teams can pack the paint on the Zags if they could slow them down in transition. Gonzaga wants to play fast, but if you can slow them down, pack the paint, you give them the three ball, again, which they've really, really struggled to shoot this year, just 31.7% as a team from beyond the arc, and you make them take tough shots. That's really been kind of the formula for good teams to knock off Gonzaga this year. Now, the second aspect is a lack of physicality on defense for the Zags, and they've struggled to defend the paint against good opponents. Now, statistically, at a glance, this team looks like a solid defensive unit, 41st in the nation in defensive efficiency, but in all 5 losses to this point, they've been dominated in the paint by their opponents. They've allowed 39 points per game in the paint in their 5 losses. This team lacks an identity on the defensive end, and they lack an established rim protector who can really hold down the fort inside and not get themselves in foul trouble. For that reason, they've been susceptible on the defensive end as well, which is part of why they've picked up their 5 losses and are in danger of not being a lock for the NCAA tournament. Now, a lack of three-point shooting and being a little bit susceptible defensively in the paint, those two things combined together, big reason why the Zags have struggled in their games against really tough opponents, those Quad 1 and Quad 2 games this year. Now, the other burning question on fans' minds, is this the end of a dynasty for Gonzaga and for Mark Few in Spokane? Now, I'll put those rumors to bed real quick. No, this is not going to be the end of a dynasty for the Zags. However, they may have been taken down just a notch, at least temporarily for now. Again, this is probably one of Mark Few's least talented teams, at least over the last decade at Gonzaga. You can bet he is going to hit the recruiting trail harder than ever next year. I mean, this team has had a lot of new pieces come into the fold. Some freshmen that are getting big minutes, and again, a couple of transfer guards. One of them, Steele Venters, out for the season, and then Ryan Nemhart has been a huge piece for them as their point guard coming over from Creighton. I think they're going to hit the transfer portal really, really hard next year. They might have a big letdown this year, but you can bet that Mark Few is probably going to be back and stronger than ever next year with his Gonzaga bunch in 2024 and 2025. Now, I want to hear your thoughts about this Gonzaga team this year. Is this a team that could be in danger of missing the NCAA tournament? Or is this just a minor blip in the road for this team that will get back to perennial contention? Or is this signaling the end of a dynasty for Mark Few in Spokane? Put your comments down in the comment section below. I personally think that Gonzaga could be in a little bit of trouble for the NCAA tournament this year. I think they'll find a way to get in somehow, whether they get in at large or whether they win the WCC. And I definitely don't think it is the end of a dynasty for the Zags. But again, I would love to hear your comments in the comment section down below. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed already and you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing down below to College Hoops Tonight. Thank you so much again for watching, and we will We'll see you in the next one.